before you lose this, you should know something. This isn't a story about a hero. It's a story about a boy who grew up inside a storm and became the storm himself. Some of the things you're about to hear are hard to admit. Some of them I wish had never happened. But this isn't about hiding the truth. It's about facing it. Because the only way a man becomes better is by looking honestly at the man he used to be. These songs are the years I spent lost, the anger, the damage, the mistakes, not just what happened to me, but what I did to others. If you've ever felt like your past defines you, like the storm will never let you go, then this story is for you. 'Cause no matter how dark the road behind you is, you can still choose who you become next. I came into this world in the middle of a storm, before I knew love, before I knew warmth. 6 months old with bones that broke, before I ever had a chance to speak or hope. Didn't know words, didn't know pain, just hands that hurt and cold like rain. A house that felt like nowhere safe, before I even knew my name. 11 months and the world turned gray, taken away, sent far away. Too young to know why arms disappear, too small to understand fear. Foster homes and silent nights, learning early how to fight, hiding food for later days, like a child lost in a maze. No map, no light, no guiding hand, just a boy learning how to stand. I was storm-born, raised in the rain, learning anger before I knew pain, before I knew calm, before I knew peace, just thunder rolling underneath. Storm-born, trying to survive, just a small boy learning to fight, before I knew love, before I knew calm. I was a child inside the storm. Old, a new last storm. New house, but the fire stayed the same. Anger sitting under my skin. Didn't know where it all began. 4 years old in schoolyard fights, a small boy swinging with all his might. People asking what's wrong with him, but storms don't start without the wind. I wasn't evil, I wasn't bad, just a boy with storms he had. A heart too young to understand the damage done by a grown man's hands. I was stone-born, raised in the rain, learning anger before I knew pain, before I knew calm, before I knew peace, just thunder rolling underneath. Stone-born, trying to survive, just a small boy learning to fight. Before I knew love, before I knew calm, I was a child inside the storm. This is where the story starts, not with a man. Just a boy in a storm. Five years old, walking through school gates, already carrying too much weight. Teachers whispering in the hall, something's wrong with that boy, they'd call. Fist clenched tight, anger in my chest. Didn't know why I never felt rest. Every time someone looked my way, I was ready for war that day. Sent home early, lunch alone, teachers calling up the phone. Play-Doh tangled in someone's hair, didn't know why I didn't care. They said I was trouble, wild and loud, the kind of kid that draws a crowd. But no one asked the simple thing, what kind of storm lives under skin? Punished fun and angry eyes, but nobody asking why. I was a boy they couldn't tame, always the one they'd blame. A storm too big for a child to hold, a heart already feeling old. A boy they couldn't tame, every fight felt the same. They saw the anger on my face, but never the storm that made it that way. And the anger grew, learning fast what fists can do. One mistake and the shouting came, pain and fear in a different name. Face swollen from a grown man's rage, a child trapped inside a cage. Walking back to school again, still carrying that storm within. Maybe I was hard to reach, maybe no one knew to teach how to calm a storm inside a boy who never learned to hide. I was the boy they couldn't tame, always the one they'd blame. A storm too big for a child to hold, a heart already feeling old. The boy they couldn't tame, every fight felt the same. They saw the anger on my face, but never the storm that made it that way. I wasn't born fighting the world, I was just a boy trying to survive. First week walking through high school gates, 3 days in and I sealed my fate. Someone talking, someone staring, next thing fists and desks were tearing. Didn't know friends, didn't need a crew, me against the world, that's all I knew. Every hallway felt like a war, every look I took as score. Years old with a brick in hand, didn't care who would understand. Anger boiling under skin, all I knew was how to swing. Teachers shouting, people staring, all I saw was people glaring. Another fight, another name, another mark beside my name. Every punch was just a shield, every fight a battlefield. Short, kicked the boy down on the court. Didn't care what people said, all I knew was seeing red. 14 years in trouble grew, handling things I never should do. Wrong crowd, wrong road, wrong night, still swinging like I had to fight. Truth is I wasn't strong back then, just a boy who didn't know when to put the anger down and breathe. Just a storm nobody could see, breaking my hand, fire in my chest, trying to fight what I couldn't express. Every hallway felt like war, every step settled in a score. Breaking my hand, raging my veins, breaking things I couldn't explain. They saw a kid who loved to fight, but never the storm inside. Looking back now, I can see I wasn't fighting them, I was fighting me. Heart of stone and a skin too tough. Didn't trust the world out there, didn't think anyone would care. You walked in loud and bright, laughing in the middle of a fight. Didn't see the storm I hit, just talked to me like a normal kid. I was used to standing alone, used to building walls of stone, but you never backed away, just pulled up a chair and stayed. Late night talks and stupid jokes, sharing pain like it was smoke. For the first time in my life, Someone stood beside the fighter, didn't fix the storm inside. Standing in the rain when the world felt like a war zone, you helped ease the pain. Sisters in the chaos when the nights felt cold, you were light inside the storm, more than you'll ever know. 16 years and life moved fast, still running hard from my past. Drinking nights and reckless days, but you never turned away. Through the noise and through the smoke, through every bad choice I spoke, you reminded me somehow there was still good in me now. Maybe you never knew your role, helping hold together a broken soul. Not with lectures, not with rules, just loyalty and truth. Sisters in the chaos, standing in the rain when the world felt like a war zone, you helped ease the pain. Sisters in the chaos when the nights felt cold, you were light inside the storm, more than you'll ever know. Before the love, before the war, there were sisters in the chaos. "16 years and the nights got loud, cheap beer hiding in a paper bag crowd, smoke in the air, laughter too thin, trying to drown what lives within. Cones in my pocket, counting change, didn't care if it looked strange. 100 pennies on the countertop, just to watch the bartender stop. Didn't care what tomorrow held, living fast in a broken shell. Streetlights buzzing over my head, trying to quiet what the silence said. Friends came and friends went fast, everyone running from their past. But when the music faded low, I was still alone with what I know. Every drink just numbed the pain, but morning always came again. Cheap beer and empty nights, running from the endless fights, laughing loud but feeling small, trying not to feel it all. Cheap beer and empty nights, streetlight glow and ballroom lights. Looking back, I see it clear, I was drowning in cheap beer. Drifting more, petty cash taken from drawers, Ashtray full and lungs burn slow. Didn't care which way I'd go. Thought the noise would hide the storm. Thought the chaos was the norm. But every night when silence came, I still held my own name. Nobody really knew the way behind the laugh and reckless stain. A kid pretending he was free from everything chasing me. Cheap beer and empty nights, running from the endless fights. Black and loud but feeling small, trying not to feel it all. Cheap beer and empty nights, streetlight glow and borrowed lights. Looking back I see it clear, I was drowning in cheap beer. And somewhere in those broken nights, life was about to change. "17 fading into 18, still living wild and living unseen. Cheap night, smoke in the air, didn't think life was going anywhere. Then one night, everything changed, one quiet sentence rearranged. No shouting, no big scene, just the words, I'm 17. World went still for a moment there, like someone answered a broken prayer. All the noise inside my head suddenly quiet. Something said, maybe this is what I need, something real to make me breathe. Not another night to run, but a reason to become someone. From reckless nights and drifting days, life was shifting in strange ways. 18 with a baby on the way, didn't know the words to say. Still a kid in so many ways, but my life changed in a day. 18 with a baby on the way, storm clouds starting to break away. Didn't know if I'd get it right, but I swore I'd stand and fight. First time holding something small, realized I had to change it all. No more running through the night, no more losing every fight. Still had demons in my chest, still learning how to do my best. But when I looked into those eyes, something stronger came alive. Didn't fix the storms inside, didn't calm the rising tide, but suddenly I understood I had something worth being good for. 18 with a baby on the way, didn't know the words to say. Still a kid in so many ways, but my life changed in a day. 18 with a baby on the way, storm clouds starting to break away. Didn't know if I did it right, but I swore I'd stand and fight. The storm was still inside of me, but now I wasn't standing alone. months holding a brand new life.
4 months learning how to be a dad right. Tiny hands wrapped round my thumb, thinking maybe the storm was done. Late night bottles, sleepy eyes, dreaming of a quieter life. For the first time in years I felt like maybe I was someone else. Then one sentence cracked the air like lightning striking nowhere. Truth dropped heavy in the room, and everything began to move. 4 months trying to build a home, 4 months thinking I wasn't alone. But something broke I couldn't see, and anger started waking in me. Love doesn't always fade away, even when the trust won't stay. Ooh, 4 months later the storm came back, lightning running through the cracks, holding love in one hand still, while the other formed a fist of will. 4 months later, nothing the same. Love and anger share one flame, trying to keep the family strong, while something inside me went wrong. Stayed because I love my child, stayed because I wanted a life. Told myself we'd make it through, but the anger slowly grew. Smiles hiding deeper scars, driving nights beneath street lamps, trying hard to be the man, but losing grip on who I am. I didn't leave, I stayed and fought, but the war was inside my thoughts, trying to build something real, while learning wounds don't always heal. Final 4 months later the storm came back, lightning running through the cracks, holding love in one hand still, while the other formed a fist of will. 4 months later, nothing the same. Love and anger share one flame, trying to keep a family strong, while something inside me went wrong. I thought I was saving my family, but the storm had moved inside the house. 25 and nowhere to go, house full of tension I couldn't outgrow. Doing my best to raise my kids, but every day felt like I slipped. Words thrown sharp like broken glass, reminding me of every past. You're not enough echoed loud, even when the kids were proud. Stayed home trying to hold the line, cooking dinners, folding time, but nothing seemed to count for much. Every day another cut. When she said she might walk away, something in me gave way. Fear wrapped tight around my chest, like I was failing every test. A storm so loud I couldn't breathe, no one seeing what I see. Cable ties inside sleep in quiet rooms while I fought invisible wounds, thinking life had closed its door, thinking I was worth no more. Storm clouds heavy in my head, words I wish I'd never said, moments I can't take away, but they shape the man today. Sometimes the lowest place you stand is where you learn to be a man. Final cable ties and silent screams, darkest nights I've ever seen, tightening the fear inside, trying just to stay alive. Cable ties and silent screams, broken thoughts and shattered dreams. A man so lost he couldn't see the road he'd one day be. I thought that was the end of me, but the storm wasn't finished yet. Four days after the words were said, 4 days after the life we led, I was still sleeping in that place, still staring at the same old space. Walls that used to hold our lives now felt sharp like broken knives. Pictures hanging on the wall like none of it meant much at all. Then the sound of a stranger's voice echoing through what once was ours. A house that held my kids and dreams now felt like it was splitting seams. Footsteps down a familiar hall, a door that used to mean it all. And lying there in silent shame, knowing nothing stayed the same. Before the dust even had time to settle on us. 4 days later, standing there, a ghost inside a house we shared. The storm inside me growing loud while I tried not to break down. Every wall felt like it knew, every memory coming through. All the years we tried to build suddenly fell quietly killed. Anger boiling under skin, but nowhere safe to put it in. A man watching his life collapse, trying hard not to snap. Some wounds don't bleed outside, they tear a man apart inside. voices are rising in the room. Storm clouds building way too soon. Words thrown sharp and out of line. Anger burning through my mind. Years of pressure, years of pain, boiling over once again. Two lives tangled in the fight, neither one of us seeing right. Hands grab tempers, cross the line. Moments lost inside that time. Sirens came and silence fell. A moment that I know too well. Blue lights cutting through the night, standing there beneath their light. Everything I thought I knew crashing down in front of you. Some choices follow you around long after the moment's gone. A caution written on my name, a mark I'll always have to claim. A moment where the storm took hold, showed the truth I couldn't control. A caution written on my past, a lesson meant to finally last. Not the man I am today, but the man I had to face. Paper signed and silence stayed. Heavy thoughts I couldn't evade. Looking hard into the glass, seeing someone from the past. Not a monster, not a saint, just a man who'd lost restraint. A storm that finally showed its cost, and all the things it almost lost. Sometimes the mirror doesn't lie, even when you wish it might. Final caution written on my name, a mark I'll always have to claim. A moment where the storm took hold, it showed the truth I couldn't control. A caution written on my past, a lesson meant to finally last. Not the man I am today, but the man I had to face. That night didn't end the storm, but it made me see it. That night didn't end the storm, but it made me see it. Love was there, but anger too. Storm clouds breaking through. Trying hard to hold things tight, but losing every fight. House full of noise and pain, same arguments again. I said I'd be a better man, but I didn't understand. Kids were small and watching me, seeing things they shouldn't see. A father meant to keep them safe, but storms don't always stay in place. Shouting louder than I should, doing things no father should. Moments burned into my mind, things I wish I could rewind. I can't hide from who I was, I won't blame it just because. Hands I wish I never raised, words I wish I never decent dad. Other days I was just mad, trying to fight the ghost I knew while hurting the ones I loved too. Those memories stay with me still. They always will. They always will. Not to drown me in regret, but to remind me not to forget. Hands I wish I never raised, words I wish I never said. Storm inside a younger man, breaking things he couldn't mend. Hands I wish I never raised, lessons from those darker days. I can't change the road behind, but I change the man inside. But that's where the change began. Hands I wish I never raised, words I wish I never said. Storm inside a younger man, breaking things he couldn't mend. Hands I wish I never raised, lessons from those darker days. I can't change the road behind, but I changed the man inside. The storm didn't end that day, but that's where the change began. The 16 years standing in the door, eyes that didn't trust me anymore. Words that cut deeper than a blade, a truth I knew but never faced. I don't wanna be around a man like you. Those words rang hard and true, and for the first time in my life, I couldn't run, I couldn't fight. Storms I carried all those years, suddenly loud inside my ears. Every shout and every scar showed me who I really was. Not the father I thought I'd be, not the man they needed me to be. Just a mirror standing there, showing truths I couldn't bear. I couldn't run, I couldn't run. Sometimes the truth don't shout or scream, it whispers something you can't unsee. A coup, I saw the man I didn't wanna be, standing there staring back at me. Years of storms inside my chest, finally put to the test. I saw the man I didn't wanna be, and something inside of me broke free. Not from anger, not from pride, but from the truth I couldn't hide. She walked away and I stood still, holding silence on that hill. No shouting, no angry fight, just a moment of blinding light. Sometimes loss becomes the key to the man you're meant to be. And in that quiet, painful space, I finally chose a different place. Not perfect, not fixed, just a man who chose to change. I saw the man I didn't wanna be, standing there staring back at me. Years of storms inside my chest, finally put to the test. I saw the man I didn't wanna be, and something inside of me broke free. Not from anger, not from pride, but from the truth I couldn't
If you've listened this far, then you've heard the storm, the anger, the mistakes, the man I used to be. I won't pretend those years didn't happen. They did. And the people I hurt, the damage I caused, that's something I'll carry for the rest of my life. Not as chains, but as reminders. Because the truth is, a man doesn't become better by pretending. The storm never happened. He becomes better by deciding it ends with him. And that's where the next chapter begins. Because the man you've just heard about is not the man standing here today. That man rebuilt himself. That man chose something different. That man finally stood up and said, "This is me."
There are faces I still remember, moments I wish I could undo, words I threw like sharpened stones at people who only loved me true. Storms don't ask who stands nearby. They just break whatever's there. And in those years I lost myself, hurting hearts that chose to care. To my kids who saw those days, a father lost inside the rain, you deserved a calmer man, not someone fighting endless pain. To their mom through years of fire, two young souls who lost their way, we both carried things too heavy, neither knowing what to say. To my family who watched me fall, and friends who stood but couldn't stay. To the people I pushed away when the storm took everything. Some of you walked out of my life. Some of you stayed close somehow. But every name lives in my mind, and I see things clearer now. So this is me standing here, no excuses, no disguise, just a man who finally sees the damage in his past and eyes. This is me saying sorry for the storms I brought your way. I can't rewrite those broken years, but I'm better than yesterday. Regret can drown a man alive, or teach him how to change his life. I chose the second road. Finally, this is me standing here, not perfect, not complete, but learning how to live a life where anger knows defeat. And if forgiveness finds its way, from the man I was. To everyone I heard in the storm, thank you for the lessons that helped me become